also for assessing organization for the European Quality Award. If you see, it contains of 9 boxes. 5 on the right side called enablers, and 4 on the left side called results. What's the difference between enablers and results? Let me give you a small example and then I will share it. Ladies, do you do cake? Yeah, do you cook cake? What's the ingredients of the cake? Ladies, who was not doing cake? What's the ingredients of the cake? What do you put to get a cake?
Recipe.
Yeah, what is the recipe? What ingredients? Flour, egg, what else? Butter, milk, sugar, all these things. This is the ingredients. Yeah, so you put it together in the mixer and then you go with the mixer, destroying the whole kitchen, and then you get the cake. If you see the right side, the enabler side, is what you call your cake ingredients. So what creates a good organization? It ranges from leadership, people, strategy, partnership and resources, and processes and products and services. I don't want to take you in detail, but under each of these topics you will find something called sub-criteria. So what needs to be done under each part of this model. So we put the cake in the oven and we got the cake out. How we can say that this is a good cake? How we can say this is a good cake? Taste it, smell it. Looks good. 3 ways to say that the cake is good. So either we smell it, we taste it, or we feel it is good. That's the result of the organization. Same for the organization. To say this is a good organization, you need to have good people results related to their people, good results related to their customers, and good results related to society. And don't forget, you need to make money at the end of the day. If you don't make money, there's no way for you for being existing. So this is the whole model. And then let's assume that this cake we tested and it's too sweety, too heavy. That's my wife says always, too heavy. What do you do then next? When you do it next time? Yes, I'm hearing something. Reduce what? Reduce the butter, for example, or reduce the flour. What do you do? Yes, what's the reason? For example, might be too sweety. Too sweety. The taste of the cake is too sweety. Maybe lots of sugar. Maybe anything else. That's the arrow which comes from down, and it's saying it's learning, creativity, and innovation. So you need to learn from the results which you are having and take it back to your enablers, like you do with the cake method. You take the learning which you have done from understanding that this is too sweet, and take it back to the ingredients, modify your ingredients. This is very simple. We take usually 3 days to explain this model in an official course. If I want to link this to the benchmarking, the model asks you to do benchmarking in 2 areas. On the enabler side, to do something called best practice benchmarking, and on the results side, to do industrial benchmarking. I'll again move back to the cake example. When you do the enablers, what usually my wife do is go to her mother, yeah, and ask her, how do you do the blueberry cake? That's what you call best practice benchmarking. Because my mother does it very nicely, and she will go to him asking, how do you do it in a good way? The results benchmarking is that when she gets out of the oven and then she says, my mother does it better than me. That's what you call the industrial benchmarking. Is the concept clear? Yeah? Good. So building on this model, we use this model as our standard because 12 of our excellence awards in UAE is based on this model. So what's the subgroup strategy? The subgroup strategy focuses on DQG and between 2007 and 2008 focuses on DQG member organizations. By doing best practice benchmarking with award-winning international organizations in Europe. How we do that is that by developing a unique benchmarking process, maintain close contact with organization consultants in Europe, and conduct benchmarking exercise with companies in Europe at least 3 times per year. That was between the 2007 and 2008. Here's the result. We did 3 overseas benchmarking. One we was having leadership and policy and strategy. We visited Siemens Completon in UK and Capita Group in UK, which is a local award winner. We did one on people management, Ground Response in UK and Capita Health in UK. And we had one on customer relation again with Siemens Completon and a company called the CD in UK. However, crisis came on, we found that people was lacking in participating in the overseas benchmarking. The cost of the overseas benchmarking was about 30,000 dirhams to participate in, which is about $10,000 to participate in such event. So we had to change our strategy, and we said we still serve DQG members. We do still best practice benchmarking with our winning organization. However, we focus locally in UAE with international exposure, and I will show you how we did that. We do that by enhancing benchmarking process to provide international exposure, enhance benchmarking process to allow participants knowledge sharing, and verify the market response to conducting local benchmarking. If I go to do local benchmarking, we did one on customer relation. We did the Dubai Municipality and Dubai Healthcare City. So we get up people from our organization, and we take them for a 4-day session where they visit to our organization, and I will show you the process how it goes. And we did another one on people management where we visited Dubai Ports World and Jumeirah Group. We did a recent study in UAE about, we sent a survey for about 100 organizations asking them whether benchmarking is still important for them. This is the result of the study. These of the organizations to perform benchmarking activities. 76% of the organizations in UAE said that benchmarking is important to our organization. 50% said of them that we get learning as a major area for improvement during an EFPM assessment. Does your organization understand on benchmarking concepts and benefits? 77% said yes, we understand the importance of benchmarking and concept. And also 55% said we identified our potential benchmarking partners. Let me go and show you about the Dubai Quality Group benchmarking process. The benchmarking process goes from plan to benchmark, conduct a visit, combine and analyze their learned practices, and develop action plan. And it's all based on the EFKM model. We use the EFKM model as the base model for our benchmarking. So how we do that? For the plan of the benchmarking is a workshop that we do it before the people go for benchmarking for the official track. We have them identify benchmarking area. We familiarize people with EFKM excellence model and benchmarking concepts. We introduce international best practices in that focused area, and then we have them set the questions. There was a comment yesterday about people refusing to accept benchmarking. And I don't know who was asking this question yesterday, that how we do manage getting people from competitors to competitors. By the way, we had competitors going to competitors. When we do working, I think it's very much important that the facilitator plays a big role here. We as an isolated organization, an organization from outside, one of our major important is that we ask the host organization which area we don't want people to go in. I'll give you an example. One of the organizations said, I don't want people to ask me how many people be laid off, for example. So we take care of this question. Where are the questions that you don't want people to ask for? And then we show them this is the set of the questions. Do you agree to answer them? In most cases, 90% of the cases we found that there was positive response. People was happy because this is they understand from previous which areas will be covered, what the question is going to be. And also the people of our have been already been familiarized and been brought up so they can put their questions in a good way. We then conduct the visit, so we'll show that expectations are met, where the areas they don't want to enter, we want to enter. We facilitate interviews, we support both host companies and participants, and arrange for logistics. And you can see some pictures from our overseas visit and some of the local visits. On the third part, we combine and analyze their practices. After they finish the 2 days visit to the host organization, they come on the 4th day for a formal workshop. We call it post-visit workshop. We ensure all participants share and understand captured information. So what we say is that what they have said on this question. Somebody will say they said something like this one. Somebody will say they said like this one. At the end of the day, we produce one document that contains all the notes of the whole people. So that helps us to have a document that covers the whole visit. We agree on major strengths and areas for improvement for the host organization. One of the things that we say for the host organization that we're going to give you is that 3 to 4 areas for improvement that the people think from their questioning and answering that you might need to focus on. One of the things also we introduce is that on day 1, we say for all participants, and think of the participants coming from different organizations, that on day 4, You're going to present one good thing about your organization. Okay? So people from day one understand that day 4, they need to present something good about their organization. And they come on day 4 and present it. This gives people exposure from international best practices, as I will show you. They give them exposure from the 2 visiting organizations that they have gone through, and then they get exposure from themselves, among themselves. They get a lot of learning from participating into this practice. And then finally they went on, we have a template to develop short-term and long-term action plan. Here is, for example, case studies, or example of benchmarking international exposure. So we gave them case study on Siemens and DHL on, for example, people management, how people are being handed off when we are doing the HR. Here's some example of the company that has participated with us, either local benchmarking or overseas. As you can see, they vary between government, semi-government, and private. When we finish the benchmarking, we give results for a survey. Here are the survey results, as you can see. Did you get an opportunity for knowledge exchange? 100% of the people said yes, it was an opportunity for knowledge exchange. Did you observe good practices? 93% said yes, we observed good practices. Recommendation to future participation. Would you recommend your friends and colleagues to participate in future benchmarking activities? 100% said yes, they will do. However, the opportunity to present to senior management was 68%. And this, I think, was talking yesterday about explicit knowledge and implicit knowledge. There where the knowledge stays in the mind of the people and sometimes does not transfer to the organization. We was testing whether the organization can absorb this knowledge or stays with people. And 68% was that then only good presented to senior management, the rest of them stayed in their knowledge. Recently we got a request from one of our clients saying, we would like to do a benchmarking. So the next question was from our side that, in which area you want to do benchmarking? And we want to do benchmarking. Yeah, in which area you want to do a benchmarking? We realized that they couldn't identify which area they want to do benchmarking on, and hence we came up with a planning for a benchmarking process. And planning for a benchmarking process, which is again moved with our first step of the model, goes with identifying benchmarking areas. So which area you want actually to identify to work on benchmarking. You can't say, I want to do a benchmarking visiting X organization and do benchmarking. If you have really focusing your benchmarking, you're helping both host organization and the coming people, because everybody is focused. Host organization needs to know who I need to put in the room. Who do you want? The HR director, the finance director, the customer relation director? Well, actually, I can't get all your senior management for you for the whole day. We need to stop our business in this case. Host organization need to be focused. Okay, in HR, you are coming to do an HR. In which part of the HR? Planning, rewarding, empowerment. In which area? Which area you are looking for? So it's very important to identify which area we are looking for. The planning for benchmarking can be done in 3 ways. We do either full AFKM assessment, which is recommended. We do something called business value metrics, and we have something called AFKM self-assessment too. If I just focus on the AFKM full assessment, the AFKM full assessments take about 5 days. You need 3 expert AFKM assessors, at least 3 in a team, very comprehensive, gives you very good, you trick the model, you take the evidence, you do the assessment, give them 3 things, their major strengths, their major areas for improvement, and what's their score as per the model. The company which was looking for wasn't be able to do something. They wanted something similar. And that's what we came up with something called business value metrics. Let me explain this for you. To explain this process for you, I need to take you through 2 things. One was something called the APQC process classification framework. Did anybody came across this term before? American Productivity Quality Center has introduced something called process classification framework. The APQC could say that these processes can be implemented in any organization, regardless of the size, the nature, or in which field they are working. These processes can be implemented in any organization. And guess what? This is free for download. It's a world most widely used process framework, organized into 2 distinct categories, including 5 categories of operating area and 7 support area. And each category contains a group of processes and activities that, when considered as whole, represent the operation of the organization.